Have you ever opened the fridge and decided that there was nothing really to eat and shut the fridge? Maybe you ordered takeout instead? Maybe you've been told that you're a picky eater your entire life. Predictable meals become a form of nervous system regulation. This is why a lot of people might eat the same thing for breakfast every day. Hi, nice to meet you. I eat fried eggs, a sausage, and oatmeal for breakfast. Not every day, but every day that I'm able to make breakfast. But there's this funny thing that happens where, especially with eggs, there's that one bite where it just tastes too eggy and you just spit it out. Nope, I'm done. I used to get steel cut oatmeal for years, and then sometime last year I was like, I can't eat another bite of steel cut oatmeal right now. So I switched to old fashioned and I've been good ever since. Eventually I might switch back. I don't know. But for us neurodiverse folk, sensory processing is a part of everything. And when it comes to food, it's not just the taste. Food is texture, temperature, taste, smell, color, consistency, appearance. Neurotypical people notice these things, surely, but we really notice them. And we experience them on a much more intense scale. And as a kid, if you had some of this going on, you were probably thought of as stubborn by your parents for a certain point. It's not that. It's that the sensory experience was a lot for you, and you just didn't know how to express it. Have you ever opened the fridge and looked at tons of different items of food and decided that there was nothing really to eat and shut the fridge? Maybe you ordered takeout instead? Maybe you've been told that you're a picky eater your entire life. Maybe you're a bit weird about the way that certain foods touch on your plate, or certain textures gross you out to the point that you just gag, you can't do it. Maybe you survive on the same handful of different foods for weeks, months, or years at a time. If that sounds familiar, it may not be a character flaw. It may be the way that your brain and nervous system are wired. Today, we're talking about food limitations and neurodiversity. Neurodivergent food challenges are really common, and they can manifest themselves in a number of ways. I say probably number one is limited food variety. If you could live off some dino chicken nuggets and tater tots for the rest of your life, this is for you. Texture sensitivities. Certain textures just really aren't for you. There's nothing that you could do to make it taste better. It's just the texture. Certain taste sensitivities. Something that's too sour, too sweet, too fermented. And that goes into smell, too, because your scent is part of your taste. If you're sensitive to smells, something's like a little too pungent or a little too spicy, it burns your nose, you're just immediately not interested, right? And then when you compile all of those sensitivities, if you will, with the aspects of this that dip into your neurodiversity, it gets even more complex, because not only do you have all those limitations, you have difficulty recognizing when it's time to eat. You get into hyperfocus and forget to eat or drink for hours, even the better part of a day. It's a struggle to plan meals. You think you've got it. You go to the grocery store, you get the stuff, and then when it comes to actually making the stuff and doing the meal prep for the week, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, right? And a big one, especially for me, eating the same food repeatedly. You have strong comfort foods, and you certainly do not like to deviate or substitute any of them. And eating can become part of your emotions, whether good or bad. When it comes to food-limiting disorders and related things, they exist on a spectrum. But just because you might be subclinical for something does not mean that it doesn't affect your everyday life, and that's why we're here talking about it. Hey there, what's up? My name's Ash. I'm a neurodiverse life coach, and I help people who are ADHD and autistic find their purpose, find their flow, and build a life that works with who they are and how they function. So if any of that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Like this video, subscribe. I have new videos every week. If you're interested in discovering a thing or two about yourself and building better routines, I've got just a thing for you. I have a free ebook called The Neuronavigator, and the link for the ebook is in the description for this video. If you're interested in diving deeper and working with me, the link to sign up for a session is also in the description. For us neurodiverse folk, sensory processing is a part of everything. And when it comes to food, it's not just the taste. Food is texture, temperature, taste, smell, color, consistency, appearance. Neurotypical people notice these things, surely, but we really notice them, and we experience them on a much more intense scale. Some common ones: mushy bananas, yogurt with chunks, fatty meat, mixed textures like crunchy and really soft, and certain vegetables. For me, canned vegetables are a no-go 98% of the time because they turn to mush. It's too much. Yeah, there's no texture to it. And as a kid, if you had some of this going on, you were probably thought of as stubborn by your parents for a certain point. And it's not that. It's that the sensory experience was a lot for you, and you just didn't know how to express it. I'll never forget, going back to canned vegetables, my mother, who will probably hate that I'm telling this story now that, things are different. She used to make canned green beans on the regular. Sometimes she did canned beets, and I was happy when it was corn or peas because those were pretty easy canned vegetables to eat. But the canned green beans, dude, I couldn't fucking do it. They tasted awful. They were mushy. By the time I mustered up the emotional strength to eat a few, they were already cold, so I was already even more grossed out. And then, in the 90s, your parents were like, there are starving children elsewhere in the world, you better fucking eat what's on your plate. So I had to sit there and scarf down at least most of my green beans before she was satisfied. And I literally was gagging on them sometimes. And the parents are just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Of course, their parents are doing the best they can. They're like, just fucking eat your vegetables. And I needed to eat my vegetables, but those just weren't the right vegetables for me, man. And then I became an adult and I had fresh sauteed green beans and I was like, fuck it, I'll try them. I always hated green beans, but let me try them. And I was like, oh, these are good. Things can change for you, but just the way certain things are made even can be the difference between it being a go or a no-go. Many neurodivergent people struggle with something called interoception. It's your awareness of certain body signals. Hunger, fullness, thirst, fatigue, bathroom needs, your own stress signals, right? We've talked about this before, just getting overstimulated, overwhelmed, and then not realizing until the cap is blown off and you're toast, right? Same thing with hunger and thirst and recognizing when it's time to take a break or go to the bathroom. Sometimes we don't realize until we're in dire straits and we drink half a gallon of water because we forgot to all day and then eat a giant meal and have a stomach ache after. Sometimes it feels good to not eat all day and then eat kind of one big meal, and then sometimes it comes back to bite you, right? Your stomach is this is too much and you get a bellyache. But missing those signals and not fulfilling them can lead to a lot of problems. A lot of skip meals, which isn't really great for your digestive system all the time. Energy crashes, of course, as a result. Being irritable because you're fucking hangry and you don't even realize it. Been there. And the end result, your executive functions get worse because no fuel, no energy, irritability. Your nervous system is already fried now. With ADHD, this can be really stressful because it's not just, okay, it's time to eat. Eating is a multi-step process for you that you have to break down in your head. You have to notice the hunger, first of all. You have to decide what to eat. You have to gather the ingredients. You have to prepare the food. And then you have to eat it and then clean up afterwards. When executive function is already strained, eating normally becomes surprisingly difficult. And people who have ADHD often make the same mistakes of snacking instead of meal prep, ordering takeout, skipping meals, or eating convenience foods because it's what's available and they need to do something right now. You're living in the moment. And it's not that you don't know better in these moments. It's that the energy to activate something else is a huge expenditure in that moment. It kind of creates a certain desperation. For the last 8 or 9 years, every time I've gone to get blood work, my doctor has said, why are you still taking creatine? I told you to stop taking it. Because for a while I was taking it, but I haven't taken it in years. And the last few blood works every year have come back with high creatine. And she's like, you know what? I actually don't like this. I want you to go get a kidney scan. Because she's like, your body seems to be producing a lot of it or something. There's something going on. So I was like, oh shit, well, I hope everything's okay. So I went to get the scan and basically everything was within normal margins, but they asked a few questions and they were like, dehydration is often something that can make your creatine spike like that. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I think my not drinking water for hours and then drinking something but not enough, probably periodically throughout the day, is actually affecting me, like, in a serious way. So I need to be more mindful of that. Water bottle's got to come with me and be glued to me all the time now, you know? I'm getting a little too old to be doing things like that, frankly. So, you know, a nice warning signal for me that something needed to change. But don't wait till things like that happen to you. Maybe you have to set an alarm every 20 minutes, a half hour, maybe a quiet one that just vibrates in your pocket. So you're like, oh yeah, I gotta like take a sip of water. Just something to reset you, to kind of bring you back to the present and have you thinking, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Bam, it's that sip of water, you know? So whatever works for you, come up with a system to help you avoid getting dehydrated, getting angry, take care of your needs. You have to. And then when it comes to ADHD especially, there's dopamine in food. Food is a huge source of dopamine for us. The neurospicy crowd loves them some sugar, okay? We could live off of it almost. But not healthily, of course. Sugar, crunchy foods, salty foods, highly processed ones. The tastiest but nastiest shit. We love it. Sometimes your brain is seeking stimulation and not necessarily nutrition, okay? And this can create cycles where you feel guilty for eating junk food, but what's really going on is you're experiencing a dopamine-seeking nervous system. It's easy to fall into this trap. I have done it myself. It's like when there's extra stressors in your life and you're not getting something you need, dopamine you will automatically start seeking, sometimes without realizing where you're seeking it from, until it's kind of too late and you're stuck in a little bit of a trap. And if you're in that trap, start changing one thing at a time. Start cutting out one thing at a time. Wean yourself down. It's really about changing habits, one little habit at a time. But what do we love more than anything else in the world? We love our safe foods. And what are those? It's the things that we keep coming back to. The ones that are predictable, consistent, reliable, they're familiar. We know they like them and we don't want it to change. We want to keep that routine going. When I find something and I like it, great. I want one every week, or whatever interval is appropriate depending on what kind of food it is. Predictable meals become a form of nervous system regulation. This is why a lot of people might eat the same thing for breakfast every day. Hi, nice to meet you. I eat fried eggs, a sausage, and oatmeal for breakfast. Not every day, but every day that I'm able to make breakfast, that's what I'm eating. But there's this funny thing that happens where, and I know other people experience this too, where, especially with eggs, there's that one bite where it just tastes too eggy, and you just spit it out. And it's usually like the last couple bites of like that portion of the meal that you're just like, nope, I'm done. That was too much. And then I had the same thing happened with my oatmeal. I used to get steel cut oatmeal for years, like probably a solid like 4 years in a row. And then like sometime last year, I was like, I can't eat another bite of steel cut oatmeal right now. Like, I'm going to throw up. So I switched to old fashioned and I've been good ever since. I don't know eventually I might switch back. I don't know. At certain restaurants, certain coffee shops, I'm known for having the same fucking order every time I go. And it's funny, but it's also like, oh my God, dude, try something new, you know? But I don't want to most of the time. I might every now and then if there's like a new drink and I'm like, oh, that seems appealing. I might try that. And I might try it once and I'm like, yeah, it was nice, but usually it's not something that I'm willing to like give up my favorite for, you know? It's just something new to try. And I'm like, oh, that was an all right experience. But yeah, the same meals, the same snacks, the same orders when you go out all the time. It's very common. Or you've got a small rotation of things. I do want to talk a minute about what happens when things don't go your way with the foods that you expect and are part of your routine. There are certain things that like the meal is over or I will get up and leave and I will go somewhere else to get what I want. Not because I'm trying to be difficult, not even because I'm picky, just because I don't know what to do. Being out of ketchup is like a DEFCON 1 emergency in this house. Like, if there are not emergency takeout packets of ketchup for me, or if I have to go to the store or call a neighbor, I will. I will drop what I'm doing before I eat whatever I was going to eat the ketchup with. And like, I will do that even if it means I have to reheat it when I come back. If one ingredient is missing from something, the whole meal might be off for me, for real. I've gotten better with age about, you know what? Maybe you're only going to eat a handful of these fries because there's no ketchup to go with them. The person that you're with, they're a lovely host, but they're not a ketchup household, which I'm judging you secretly. You're not going to be like a terrible house guest over it. You have to learn, okay, you know what? This hasn't gone my way, and I'm bummed about it, but it is what it is. And yeah, likewise, if I show up to a restaurant and my favorite thing there is like unavailable, I'll look at my friend and be like, we get out of here or what? Like, because this isn't this isn't gonna work now. If there's not like something else on their menu that like I'm particularly fond of, I'm like, if it's not too much of an inconvenience for the group I'm with, I want to bounce. And when it comes to, look, when I'm on myself, then I will inconvenience myself to get what I want and feel regulated in my food choices for the day. But as an adult out there in the world, you do have to try to be conscientious if you're in a group. Do what you have to do if it's really that much of a struggle for you, but don't make it everybody else's problem at the same time if you can help it. For me, the challenge is when I get the bad news from like the server or the person at the cashier, that whatever I wanted is like not in stock. My challenge is to be like, oh, okay, without making them feel like I'm mad at them, because I am usually mad at the situation, very much so. But I also don't want to make anybody else feel like I'm trying to be a rude customer when things like that happen. So things to try to be mindful of. Try not to be a jerk about it unintentionally, you know? Because for the average person, it's disappointment. For you, it's like disappointment plus what am I going to do now? Because I'm going to have difficulty finding something that I'm comfortable eating at the moment, and I got to sort that out. So it's a little more stressful than just being mildly inconvenienced. So there are people with food-limiting issues that could fall like in a clinical, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, or like a separate eating disorder. You don't have to be diagnosable with those things, like I said, to have your food restriction issues affect your life greatly. Many of us live in this gray area where, your nutrition kind of suffers sometimes, where variety is limited for you, where eating feels very stressful, and it does take up more of your brain space than it should. And ultimately, your energy levels suffer as a result. It may never reach diagnostic levels, but it doesn't make the struggle any less real for you. So what are some practical solutions? Instead of forcing yourself to conform and eat like a neurotypical person all the time, try some lower friction foods. What do I mean by that? Maybe some protein shakes to help fill in between meals. Maybe some ready-made meals. They can be an investment sometimes, but actually I've been very healthy before on some prepared meals, and I didn't do them for every meal. I kind of made it so that like my lunch and dinner were at least taken care of, and I took care of my own breakfast, or I did a time-restricted eating where I was only eating 16 off, 8 hours on eating during the day. And those 2 meals and my snacks and whatever were kind of fit into that 8 hours. And you can get foods like meats that are maybe pre-cut or just prepared in a way that they're kind of bite-sized, and it's not so cumbersome to see like this slab of meat on your plate that you have to like now cut apart. You can work with your safe foods and add nutrition around them. For example, if it's going to be a Dino Nuggets day, okay, put some greens with it. Do something that will give you some fiber, will give you some nutrients other than the little bit of protein that you get from those. If your comfort food is very carby, mix some protein in with it somehow. I would say to be careful with frozen meals and some prepared meals, as they can be a little high in sodium, so just be mindful of your sodium intake and make sure you're hydrating enough. And when it comes to when you're eating, when you're hydrating, like I said, going back to set alarms, do sticky notes, do different routine anchors. You don't start this task without a meal. Whatever it may be. Make sure that you are remembering to drink water and eat regularly whenever it makes sense for you. You can also build emergency foods. For example, keep certain things always stocked in your house, or maybe bring some with you in your car, or keep them like by your desk so that if you're having an off day, if you kind of missed your opportunity, your window to eat what you should have eaten when you should have eaten it, then keep some foods around you that are A, probably kind of shelf stable, B, are healthy, and C, are a variety, something that you know that you will actually eat, that isn't just like an unrealistic healthy food that is like kale chips, unless that's your thing. Bottom line, make sure those ones are like zero effort. Like you take it out of a package, you eat it, you don't have to do much to prepare it. Keep some foods like that around to help you. And lastly, stop feeling shame about this. It's just part of who you are, and you can expand your palate a little bit. Certain textures and smells are probably like never really gonna be your thing, and that's okay because they go into the flavor of the food as you experience it too. So don't be afraid to try something once. You can always say, I fucking hated it, and never eat it again, and that's okay. Or you could be surprised, and I've certainly been surprised more than once, and I've found new foods and new cultural flavors that way. So, but at the end of the day, understand that if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's part of how your nervous system processes the food experience in a way that other people often don't experience so intensely. So don't feel guilty or shameful for just not having the hugest palate. It is what it is. Maybe the goal isn't being the person who meal preps perfectly on Sunday, 12 meals to get you through the next few days. Maybe the goal is understanding your brain, reducing friction, and creating a way of eating that works for you. Because when you're neurodivergent, success often comes from working with your wiring, not against it. Till next time, peace.